Aloha, everybody. Jason Jones coming to you. I still have not figured out Live Producer. So I'm going to look over here, and for the past several months, I'm live from my computer. It's what I like to call Kung Fu movie style. The sound doesn't match my lips. So before I begin with my soliloquy on why I'm leaving Facebook, if you can let me know if it's kung fu movie style, and if it is, I gotta figure something out. Hey, hey, Justin, is this kung fu movie style, or can you hear it? Is it normal? I could just wear my mask. Remember, I had to do that before. I just would wear my mask to block the kung fu movie style. So I'm gonna wait to make sure this is working. Doo-doo-doo. It's perfect. Okay, guys, I am bouncing from Facebook, but before I do, I have to download my photos. So I began the process. I Googled it. You can all look into it. Follow the instructions. I guess it takes a couple of days for them to get the file together, and they give you all your photos, all your videos. You put it on Dropbox or in the cloud some other way, or you can load it on to your computer or onto an external hard drive. So I'm just waiting for that, and as soon as I get that, I'm out of here. So before I tell you why I'm leaving Facebook, I'm going to tell you why I went from a reluctant, someone who was reluctant to join Facebook, and then I loved it, and now, it's a dystopian nightmare. All right. Why did I join Facebook? I think I was sort of a late adapter. I first heard about it in 2005 or 6 when only Ivy League students could use it, I believe, or you needed a .edu. Never had a MySpace. Thought I'll never have a Facebook. Then in 2007, I worked for Ambassador Sam Brownback, who was then Senator Sam Brownback. And I think one of my staffers signed me up for it. And then with the movie Bella, the neighbor's cat just walked in our house and walked in my office. You can bring her here. Then with the movie Bella, Daddy's on FaceTime Live, guys. Bring me the kitty. Then with the movie Bella, this is not our cat. It just walks in our house. Say hi to the people. All right. Then with the movie Bella, it just became a useful way to market films. And so I began to use it. I really didn't use it for the Brownback campaign. I used it to market our film Bella. And it was useful. And then after Bella, we founded Movie to Movement. And Facebook became an extremely useful tool for us to market films. And over 50 films I've worked on, probably the first 15 or 20, Facebook was really a key to our success. It was really it was the key to our success. If you remember very early on, however the algorithms work, we would create memes that would go super viral. We did one meme that, believe it or not, was shared over 1 million times, and I think it had 365 million likes, of all things. And so it was, and then Movie to Movement is a nonprofit. We would work with other films, not just ones we made, and we would show them how to leverage our movement, the pro-life movement, to make their film a success. But Facebook quickly clamped down on that. But then I also discovered, as we all did, pretty much every lost friend was found. And we could have great political discussions. And I have to say, if you've been on my wall for a long time, you've probably talked with friends of mine from kindergarten to people I met a couple weeks ago. I never was a big Twitter guy, because with Twitter, all you could ever do is say, this is what I think, and you're an idiot. And then I could respond and say, this is what I think, and you're ugly. I thought, I don't like that. So if those of you who follow me know, I've never really been on Twitter much. And what I liked about Facebook is it allowed me to get to know people, their hobbies, their avocations, what they eat for lunch. I actually liked all that. Their favorite movies, the books they were reading. And I also loved to watch friends of mine from elementary school discussing or talking about politics with people I served with in the Army. Okay. And about 2 years ago, it began to change. I've been very disciplined. A lot of you probably think, why don't I block this person or that person? I don't, because I love them, and I'll message them and say, my only rule is no ad hominem attacks against people you don't know in person. So if you know them in person, like if you went to high school with me and the other person went to high school with me and you want to say they're fat and ugly, go for it. But if you went to high school with me, don't say that to somebody that I served in the Army with because you don't really know them. So that's my rule. I think it's a pretty simple rule. Other than that, you could say whatever you want. You could even insult me because you know me, right? You know me. So if you want to tell me I'm fat and ugly, I know. I got it. Of course I drink too much red wine. All right. The other reason I like Facebook is I got to know about you. And also I got to share my family. I didn't like Instagram because then weirdos could see it. I think it's kind of like Twitter, right? Pretty much anyone can see it. I never really use Instagram that much. Um, and I don't use my public Facebook page a lot. This is stuck at 5,000. I just leave it there. And believe it or not, I know all 5,000 of my friends, or probably 4,500 of these people, I actually personally know. I get around, and I meet a lot of people. So I liked all of that, and then I liked getting to share my family with you and in sort of the life I live. I mean, my life is actually more beautiful and real, but it probably looks pretty cool too, right? Because all my friends are pretty cool. They're beautiful people, and that's you guys. I work with the most courageous folks on earth. You will see in some of my threads a Peshmerga officer talking with a Hong Kong freedom activist, talking with somebody I went to high school with, talking with my neighbor. They're all in that same thread. And they're also heroic, beautiful people. It's going to come to an end, at least for now. And here's why. I don't think I will ever get censored. I don't think I will be one of those accounts removed right away. I don't know why I think that, but I pretty much somehow seem to be inoculated from a lot of the censorship. I was banned once from Facebook for defending Ellen DeGeneres from the woke mob. I was banned for a month, which struck me as very odd. But then why am I leaving Facebook? I'm leaving Facebook because I think it's self-evident. If I am not free to say what I want to say here, and I have to measure my words to be thoughtful to censors, I don't want to be here. If my friends, you can look at some of the most recent threads on the Capitol Hill incident. I have friends in there that are very volatile on the left and in the right. And I let people say what they want. I'm not there to censor them. And I would, of course, never, ever tell somebody what to say on their own page. Also, I know they're buying and selling my information. I was practicing a speech in my office with my phone on the desk and my computer, and I kept talking about Jacques Ellul. Jacques Ellul, passed away decades ago, I believe, 2-3 decades ago, and look that up. But I had a quote from Jacques Ellul, and the next time I went to my Amazon Prime account, there were all these recommendations for Jacques Ellul books. That means Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all this is listening to us, and they're going to advertise through us. Then I went to my Facebook page, and there was an ad for a Jacques Ellul book. It wasn't like it was, a popular book just released by James Patterson. Obviously, they're listening to us, they're selling, people are paying to have access to my conversations. I'm alone in my office speaking. They're getting money for that. All the while, they're censoring me. So over the next month, I'll be off Google, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Amazon Prime. I'm going to commit to writing more letters, investigating what other social media platforms are actually going to work and take off, and then also reassess why I use social media. And at the heart of it, if you follow me, you know I have a very simple apostolate. So if I'm using social media for my apostolate, it is to stand in solidarity with the vulnerable. The vulnerable are the marginalized in society. Um, Twitter banned President Trump. This week, the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., on their official Twitter account, literally tweeted the most unbelievably repulsive tweet known to man, where they said, ever since we've begun the de-Islamization process in Xinjiang, Chinese occupied East Turkestan, Muslim women have been liberated from being baby factories and now have reproductive choice and are liberated from gender roles. Well, that's a very nice way of saying we've shipped their husbands off to concentration camps where we work them to death and harvest their organs. We sterilize them and make them undergo forced abortions, and we shelter soldiers in their homes for months at a time. Chinese soldiers. This is real. That was not fact checked. That was not censored, but our president was. So here's another thing we need to know, that Facebook, Twitter, Google, and the CCP, they're one. They're one. Rene Girard, I'm going to end on this. Rene Girard said that when you choose to stand with the vulnerable, the scapegoat that the mob is trying to destroy, and obviously today that's those MAGA people. And I'm a conservative. I don't think people would lump me in as a MAGA person, although I was on Trump's Catholic advisory team. I'm a conservative Catholic. That's my tribe. And we're not the direct target of their hatred today. It's those pure MAGA people, right? They're the ones being kicked off Twitter. The Q people, the MAGA people. I'm still on Twitter today. I'm going to stand with them. And I stand with the Uyghur. I cannot place ads on Facebook for the Uyghur. For about 6 months, Facebook will not let me. Why is that? And why are they censoring us? Okay, here we have it. Rene Girard said, when you stand with the vulnerable, the scapegoat that the mob is trying to destroy, you become indistinguishable to that mob from who you're standing with. So if you're standing with President Trump, and Trump is going to be their scapegoat for all the chaos and disorder that we have in our society today, and they want to burn him at the stake, then the MAGA people, you stand with Trump, you wear that red hat, everything they've fed them their little brains with about Trump, they'll think about you. And then if you stand with the MAGA people, you become indistinguishable from them. You stand with the Uyghur to the CCP, you become indistinguishable. But that goes the other way too. When you're standing with the scapegoat, the mob that's trying to persecute you, everyone in that mob ceases to lose. They lose their individuality. And here's what we know. Today has made it very clear. The CCP and the neoliberal establishment, from where I'm sitting, standing with the scapegoats, from Hong Kong to East Turkestan, to my neighbors with their MAGA flags and their trucks, they're one. And I saw that at the Trump rally, the Capitol. I saw so many. Go look at the images. You cannot look at one image without seeing the flags of South Vietnam, Hong Kong, East Turkestan. Go look. Ask yourself, why are all these hundreds of South Vietnamese flags? Because they know the CCP is the enemy. We found out today that they're kissing cousins. This computer I'm talking to you, this Mac, was probably made, components in this were made by Uyghurs in forced labor and others, Christians and much others, and Han Chinese and others, right? They told us that the desecration, the gaslighting of what happened at in Capitol Hill this week, after the summer we just had, this insane gaslighting and house, in those sacred halls, they could not pass a bill this legislative session. They couldn't put a bill on the president's desk, the Uyghur Slave Labor Prevention Act. They could not get that on the president's desk to say that our companies must certify that their products are not made by slaves. Yeah, really sacred halls right there. Okay? So I'm leaving Facebook, but I don't want to lose you, my friends. Stay connected. Maybe we could write letters. Maybe one of these other social media outlets, platforms will work. Maybe they won't. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe what we really should do, because all politics is local, If we're using social media to be connected to our family and friends, maybe instead of worrying about our cousins, aunts, uncles, and distant friends way out there, no offense to you, I should be more focused on my friends in the neighborhood and my own family in the house. And maybe rather than trying to organize the whole world politically, I should organize my neighborhood, my precinct, my state house district. Maybe we should all think that way. And then we'll find ways to be interconnected as well. But I'm not down. I'm going to tell you the other thing I like about this experience is I watched 1,000 people disappear from my Twitter account, which I barely use, and it's not that big. But I watched 1,000 people vanish today. And I got this like sick feeling, queasy, like this is eerie feeling. And I said, feel this. This is very strange. This is just like an inoculation or a little taste of what the freedom fighters in Hong Kong are feeling right now, because they really have sheer terror. So it's just a little bit of what the Nuba are feeling. It's a little bit about what the Uyghur are feeling. It's a little bit like what the Jews when the Weimar Republic began. It felt just a little bit. It's creepy. It's unsettling. But that feeling you have, that's also a beautiful opportunity for empathy. We should all have empathy and realize that we need to stand in solidarity with around the world. This is a global battle against neoliberal tyranny. So we all need to fight right where we are. We don't need social media to fight right where we are. I told my wife, I'm going to start door knocking. I am going to start a social network in a phone tree. And I'm going to start door knocking in my neighborhood like I used to in the 90s. Every day I would knock on doors for an hour or two a day for like a decade doing pro-life work. I'm getting back to that and build phone trees and have pen pals. We're going to find ways to do our work, to do our apostolate, to do our mission. I'm still going to make movies, still going to write articles, and you're going to follow me at the Jason Jones Show. We're going to look for creative ways to produce and distribute content, but I'm tired of giving these, and I really feel sorry for them because they're possessed by the spirit of the age. I saw people with blue check marks celebrating the murder of a veteran. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So as we're seeing all this, we're feeling all this, it's good. So we just have to adjust, and then it's kind of exciting. You look a nightmare in the face, it's not a nightmare anymore. You look a nightmare in the face, you look a dragon in the face, now you got an adventure. So today we have all seen, we've got quite the adventure in front of us. And ideologies of evil are a deprivation. Evil is the absence of being. Ideologies are a denial of human dignity, but ideologies in and of themselves, the seeds of their own destruction, this is St. John Paul the Great, are within them. He said when the 1,000-year Reich invaded Poland, when the Nazis invaded Poland, he knew that 1,000-year Reich would not last very long at all because it was such a great deprivation. There was very little being in it. When the Soviets came in, he said the same thing. He said that the Poland would survive the Nazis and Poland would survive the communists. And they did. They did. So these ideologies of evil, they will eventually self-destruct. That's the good news. We're conservatives. Conservatism is the negation of ideology, and ideology is the negation of human dignity. So now, brainwashed lemmings and whacked out ideologues that work for these tech companies that are possessed by ideology are denying the dignity of the human person, are denying liberty, denying free speech. It's quite amusing. Mark Twain said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And can you feel the rhyming that's going on right now? I can feel it. So that's why I'm leaving. I will miss you guys. I will miss the old days of Facebook where I would watch my friends pleasantly debate. I actually love that. I even like when I watch them fight. I think, how do I know this person? Oh, I met them when I was 17 at Schofield Barracks. How do I know this person? I met them 4 weeks when I gave a banquet in Idaho. And now they're talking about whatever. It's kind of cool. Yeah, well, that's over. All right, what are you guys saying over here? I'm about to bounce, but you guys got some things over here. Oh, someone posted my show. Thank you so much. I'm going to check out Parler. I don't get it. To be a Texan, we must be resilient. Look at all my friends here. Let's see here. All right, there. Did I spell something wrong again? Scary. The churches in America need to wake up. Yeah, the churches do need to wake up. But it's the lady that's going to wake up. I think the hardest thing for folks right now is that, as Archbishop Vigano said, is that the papacy has fallen to the spirit of the age. My favorite little speech, or lecture I've shared on this platform 8,000 times, is of Rene Girard called Peter's Denial. And he talks about how Peter gets swept away by the crowd. When you're in a crowd, I just witnessed this. I just felt it on myself when I was at the Capitol. When you're in a crowd, you get swept away by the crowd. Peter was swept away by the crowd to deny Christ. Would Peter have denied Christ if he was standing there alone? No. But he was in the crowd, right? We're told he's in the crowd. And then a young woman says, "You're the Galilean." He's like, "No." Would he have denied Christ if it was a strong, burly man? Maybe not. We all know how that is, So, the Peter denied Christ, and Rene Girard. I almost canonized him. I said Saint Girard. Rene Girard, who is not a saint. Well, I think he is. Rene Girard said that could be a type of prophecy. What if, he said this in 2012, there comes a day where even the Pope, the Petrine office, is swept away by the spirit of the age. Well, clearly Pope Francis and his followers are mirrors of the spirit of the age. It's pretty cute. It's amusing to me. And the rhyming of the censorship that we're seeing now, and the scapegoating and people being swept away by the spirit of the age, it amuses me like an experiment. I watch it and I'm like, wow. And when I was in the crowd, let me say something that Taylor Marshall said to me on a call today. We're just talking on the phone, and I had shared with him this Girard quote, and he said, even Peter wasn't with Christ at the cross, but Mary was. And that's why Marian spirituality in the end times, in these challenging times, when even our bishops and our Pope flee the cross, we should look to the example of Mary. That was pretty good. But, when you're in a crowd, I felt it. I feel sorry for so many of those people that just kind of walked into the Capitol, because I think if you came later in the day and you didn't see him breaking the window down or messing with the door, I think people just walked up those steps, right? The crowd walked upstairs, and because they were standing behind the velvet robe, just looking at the artwork, not touching anything. And they were just swept away by the crowd, not even thinking, just left foot, right foot, left foot up the steps. Well, that's what's happening with the mob on Twitter condemning those people. They're all being swept away. And it's intriguing. It's very interesting. So these are, this all ages are a spiritual exercise. We are now signing up for the spiritual exercise advanced class. Spiritual exercises 401 with Mao Zedong is your professor. All right, anything else here? Before I say aloha, keep the faith, keep the fight. I don't know if I'll be on MeWe. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm going to put together something on Facebook where I can capture everyone's emails, which I probably already have on my websites. I just got to go look. You mentioned any criticisms of vaccines on YouTube and you're censored. Yeah, we already know a doctor just died. So many people are getting sick. We're not allowed to talk about it. Hey, there's Shirin. So there's a friend of mine who I met in Iraq who was a victim of ISIS. You can say hi to Shirin. I'm going to go click right here. She's my friend. Lives in the States now. I see friends here from Hawaii. A friend of mine who works in Iraq. The click came right here. Hey, Justin, you need to say hi to Sharon down here. You guys, this is my buddy Peter, who wrote one of my favorite books on Our Lady and Fulton Sheen. Peter Howard. There's my man Hector. What's up, Hector? So that's all. So I'm gonna bounce probably in a week. I think it's gonna take me a week to get all my I don't know how long Facebook takes. So I send in the request to get the files. As soon as I get the files, I'll probably make one more video, put up something on how I can get your emails to stay in touch. That way, when we find out what platform, or if any, I go to, we can stay in touch there. And you can always follow me on the Jason Jones Show. And I got to get a new email account. I don't even want to be on Google. I don't even want to be on Amazon Prime. I just ordered my favorite movie, which I have on digital. I'm going to start getting I already canceled my Audible. You guys have to watch this movie. I can prove it's my favorite movie. I got 2 posters on my walls. Boom. Cyrano right there. See the Toronto International Film Festival trophy for Bella. I think Cyrano also won. And then over there, Ridicule. Huh? You have to watch Ridicule. It's very hard to watch, though, if you don't speak French. It's hard to get an English translation. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably going to look at Proton Mail. I'm going to check that out. What's up, Giuseppe Locatelli? This is my buddy I went to college with. He was a Marine. I just got out of the Army. We waited tables together, did Kyokushin together. Yeah. I'm going to stay in touch with all you guys, though. All righty. That's all. I would say these times are interesting. They're exciting. And when you get that feeling of like shock, or that it's eerie, right? That eerie feeling. What I do is my library is probably a bit morbid. I have behind you there's hundreds of books. Most are on genocide, democide, and total war. On that shelf are like all of the letters and journals of Eric Vogelin from the 20s and 30s, 40s, when he was fighting the Nazis. And Heidegger became a Nazi, which so many people that literally work at Twitter and Facebook and Google love Heidegger. Isn't that interesting? They've got Heidegger on their shelves. And I have Vogelin on mine. I also have Heidegger. You know who else I have? I should show you guys. These books come in handy nowadays. Hold on. You done talking amongst yourselves? These books come in handy. That's why I'm not surprised. Because I have read it all. It's all there before. I have read it. I've read Stalin. And Stalin, history's rhyming. Shocking, isn't it? Shocking. These people think they're the progressives and the liberals. They think they're the radical individualists and we're the hateful mob. As they put on their mask and they social distance and they dox and destroy and it's cute. But that's how they are. It's cute. All right. Peace out. Friends only. Travis wants me to do a friends only account. Isn't that for perverts? Isn't that for old dudes? Old pervy pervs? Travis, that guy. All right, guys. Aloha.